Before there were scopes or red dots, there were iron sights. They're not literally iron these days. They're more likely plastic or aluminum for lighter weight. Almost all pistols will have them. Many rifles will, as will shotguns designed for shooting slugs. Iron sights are relatively inexpensive, and even if you scope a rifle, having iron sights is a great backup in case something happens to your scope. Shooting accurately with iron sights is a great skill to have, and most rifle competitions are still fired using iron sights. The iron sights you'll see most often on hunting rifles are called open sights. There's a poster blade at the front, sometimes protected by a sunshade. The rear sight is an open notch, often adjustable for elevation. Elevation expresses how high the bullet impacts on the target. Open sights are easy to understand and use, but their precision is limited by their short sight radius. That's the distance between the front and rear sights. The greater the sight radius, the greater the precision of the sights. Target rifles and many military rifles solve that problem by using a peep or aperture rear sight located at the rear of the rifle's action. This greatly increases the sight radius. You peer through a little hole in the rear sight and center the front sight in the hole. Then you put the front sight on or just below the target. If you can keep the rifle steady, you'll get a hit. Pistol sights operate much like open sights, but both sights are closer to the eye and the sight radius is even shorter. Aperture sights have been made for pistols, but open sights are much more common. Pistols intended for target shooting have rear sights that can be precisely adjusted for both elevation and windage, which is the amount the pistol shoots to the right or left. The greatest challenges in using iron sights are sight alignment and focus. Before you worry about training the gun on the target, you have to get the front and rear sights aligned with each other. With a rifle, this is largely a matter of gun fit. The sights will never line up naturally if the gun is too long for you or the buttstock comb is too high or low. If the gun fits right, the sights will naturally be aligned. When you're shooting a pistol, sight alignment is controlled by your grip on the gun. A firm, consistent grasp will let the front sight blade settle comfortably into the rear sight notch. The eye focuses one distance at a time. It cannot simultaneously focus on the target, the front sight, and the rear sight. You can only focus on one of them at the instant you pull the trigger, and that should be the front sight. You only want to see enough of the rear sight to be sure the front sight is properly aligned in it. Your view of the target doesn't have to be especially sharp, but your view of the front sight should be sharp and crisp. Hold steady and you'll get a hit.